You fired her for showing compassion? Unbelievable. Emily, a caring nurse, noticed one of her patients, Sophia, was wearing shoes that were barely holding together. The holes in the soles were so big you could see her toes. Without hesitation, Emily bought her a brand new pair. But that simple, selfless act cost Emily the job she had always dreamed of. Just 2 days later, a mysterious phone call would set her on a path she never expected. Hi everyone, welcome to Graceful Storyteller. Today, I have a story that will make you believe in the power of kindness. Emily, a dedicated nurse, had always believed in the power of small acts of kindness. She had spent years in the pediatric ward of the city hospital, caring for children who were sick, injured, and sometimes facing life-threatening conditions. Every day she put on her scrubs with one goal in mind: to make a difference in the lives of the children she cared for. One rainy afternoon, as Emily made her rounds, she noticed a young girl, Sophia, sitting on her hospital bed, clutching her stuffed bear. Emily had been caring for Sophia for weeks now. She was a sweet, quiet girl no more than 6 years old who had been in the hospital for a major surgery. But today, Emily noticed something new. Sophia was staring at the floor, her eyes downcast, her small feet peeking out from beneath her hospital gown. It wasn't just her illness that made her sad. It was her shoes. Or rather, the lack of decent shoes. Emily saw that Sophia's shoes were old, worn down, cracked, with holes in the soles. The edges of the shoes were frayed, and the fabric was barely holding together. Emily could see that the girl was too embarrassed to look at her feet. Sophia's condition was serious, but her shoes told a different story, one of poverty, discomfort, and a lack of care. Without hesitation, Emily decided to do something about it. She went out and bought a new pair of shoes for Sophia. A simple gesture, but one that spoke volumes. The shoes weren't expensive, just a basic pair, but they were new, clean, and most importantly, they would make Sophia feel special, cared for. The next day, Emily quietly placed the new shoes by Sophia's bed. When the little girl saw them, her eyes lit up, and for the first time in days, a smile spread across her face. "Thank you," she whispered softly, her voice trembling with emotion. Emily's heart swelled with warmth as she watched the girl slip on the new shoes. It was a moment of pure happiness, a moment that made Emily feel like her work truly mattered. But little did Emily know that one act of kindness would soon turn her life upside down. 2 days later, Emily was called into her supervisor's office. She had no idea what to expect. The hospital was a busy place, and Emily didn't think anything unusual had happened. But as soon as she entered the room, she felt an unease settle in. The door closed behind her, and she saw Mr. Harris, the head of the hospital administration, sitting behind his desk, his face stern. "Emily," he said, his voice cold, "I've been informed that you bought a pair of shoes for one of your patients. Is that correct?" Emily blinked, confused. "Yes," she said slowly, "I bought Sophia a new pair of shoes. Her old ones were falling apart." Mr. Harris sighed, leaning back in his chair. "I understand your intentions, Emily, but you've broken the hospital's policy. We don't allow personal gifts to patients. It creates problems. We have to remain fair to everyone." Emily's stomach dropped. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "I was just trying to help," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Harris's face softened slightly, but his tone remained firm. "I know you had good intentions, Emily, but this is a serious issue, and the hospital board has made a decision." Emily's heart began to race. "What decision?" "I'm afraid," Mr. Harris said, "that we have no choice but to let you go. You're being fired." Emily was stunned. Fired? For helping a child? She had spent her career caring for children like Sophia, putting their needs above her own. How could something so simple, so kind, lead to her losing her job? Her mind raced as she tried to process the words. She had always known that rules and policies were important, but she never imagined that her compassion would be the thing that would end her career. As she packed up her things later that day, Emily's hands trembled. She couldn't help but feel a deep sense of injustice. Had she really done something wrong? Was it so terrible to care for a child who needed help? She thought of Sophia's face, the joy in her eyes when she received those new shoes. How could something that made a child smile lead to such a harsh outcome? But what Emily didn't know was that this was just the beginning of her story. A few days later, her phone rang. It was an unknown number. Emily hesitated for a moment before picking it up. "Hello?" Emily said, her voice still shaken. "Is this Emily?" A calm, deep voice asked. "My name is Jonathan Reeves. I don't think we've met, but I know who you are. I've heard about what happened at your hospital." Emily's heart skipped a beat. "Who are you?" she asked, confused. "My name is Jonathan Reeves," the man repeated. "I'm a businessman. I own a foundation that supports healthcare workers and provides resources for children in need. I've heard about your kindness toward your patient, Sophia, and I think what happened to you was deeply unfair. I believe people like you should be celebrated, not punished." Emily sat up straight, her curiosity piqued. "Thank you, but I don't understand. Why are you calling me?" "I'd like to offer you an opportunity," Jonathan said. "I believe you have the heart of someone who truly wants to make a difference. My foundation is looking for someone like you, someone who understands what it means to care for others. I'd like to offer you a position to join our team. Together, we can help even more children like Sophia." Emily couldn't believe what she was hearing. A job offer? From a complete stranger. It seemed too good to be true, but the warmth in Jonathan's voice felt sincere, and the idea of continuing to help children was everything Emily had dreamed of. I don't know what to say," she stammered, her voice trembling with a mix of excitement and doubt. "This is all happening so fast." "Take your time," Jonathan said kindly. "But know this, your kindness hasn't gone unnoticed. Sometimes, when one door closes, another one opens. This could be the start of something amazing for you, Emily." As Emily hung up the phone, she sat in silence, trying to absorb everything that had just happened. Could this be real? Could this phone call truly lead to a new chapter in her life? Days passed, and Emily found herself torn between hope and skepticism. She had lost her job in the most unfair way possible, but now here was an opportunity to do even more, help more children, make a greater impact. Emily couldn't stop thinking about Jonathan's offer. Eventually, she made up her mind. She would take the chance. A week later, Emily found herself standing in front of the Jonathan Reeves Foundation office building. The sleek, modern building looked nothing like the small hospital where she had worked for so long. The doors opened, and Emily stepped inside, greeted by a team of warm, welcoming faces. As Emily sat down with Jonathan, he smiled. "We're so glad to have you on board, Emily. You have no idea how much you can change the world by doing what you do best." And from that day forward, Emily was no longer confined to a small hospital ward. She was part of something much bigger, something that would allow her to help children across the country, not just in her small town. She worked on initiatives that provided children with the resources they needed to thrive, from shoes to medical care, from school supplies to emotional support. Months passed, and Emily's life changed in ways she could never have imagined. Her work was no longer limited to just one patient of Basintev. She was helping hundreds of children just like Sophia. One afternoon, as she sat with Jonathan over lunch, he smiled warmly at her. "I've been thinking about something, Emily. I want to start a new program in your name, something that reflects your heart, your kindness. A program that will provide not just shoes, but also clothing, medical care, and school supplies to children in need. We'll call it the Emily's Heart Fund." Tears filled Emily's eyes as she listened. "I don't know what to say," she whispered. "This is beyond anything I ever imagined." "You deserve it, Emily," Jonathan said. "The world needs more people like you. This is just the beginning." And so, the Emily's Heart Fund was born. It became a symbol of hope for children everywhere, a symbol of compassion and kindness that had started with one simple act, buying a pair of shoes. Emily's story was a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness could create ripples that changed the world in unimaginable ways. As Emily stood at the opening ceremony for the scholarship fund, she looked out at the children who would benefit from it. She had gone from losing her job to creating a legacy that would change lives forever. Sometimes when one door closes, another opens, and for Emily, that door had led to something far greater than she could have ever dreamed.